Hey, what's up, nerd fam? I want to talk to you real quick. Something a little serious that has been concerning, and it's the reaction to Hogan, or better yet, even his death. Now, I'm only talking about this because wrestling has been a huge part of my life. Obviously, I've had on and off times. One of my best friends, Jonathan, he's like a wrestling historian guy, and he's put me onto so many things. And I figure this could be a good place to have a conversation like this because I think as people we do need to get a bit better and a much better handle on stuff like this. And this is what I'm talking about. I understand that Hogan, I don't know what his real name is, Terry something, I don't know, did and said some rather reprehensible things. There's no sugarcoating that. Not saying anything that's gonna downplay that. My question to a lot of the reactions that I'm seeing out there, why are people taking this so incredibly personal to the point where they're saying they wish for his death? Which, by the way, is a very strange thing to do because everyone's gonna die anyway. You don't have to wish for someone's death, it's gonna happen regardless. But also, it seems like it's very vitriolic. Especially because everyone who is doing this, they never knew him. They never knew him personally. And that's a really important thing to make a distinction of because we only knew the character. And I'm saying 99% of us who heard of him just knew of the character, knew that he did leg drops, that he body slammed Andre the Giant, and that's it. Hogan was never one of my favorite wrestlers. I always thought his style was boring. Like, my favorite wrestler is AJ Styles, right? Like, that's like the type of wrestling that I like, especially when he's in TNA and then when he evolved, but whatever. But that was never my favorite wrestler. So I just knew that he was an iconic character within wrestling. And then even my friend Jonathan put me on to the crazy history that he had behind the scenes. And then, obviously in 2007, which is before I even met my friend, we had already known about what he said on that tape about his daughter's boyfriend and whatever. And when I heard that, I was just like, okay, so I guess he's a racist, and like any other racist, I just ignore him and just go about my way. I don't take anything that a racist says personal because I don't transform into the thing that they say, right? If someone were to call me the N-word right now, I don't become that. I just go about my business. Now, if you try to put your hands on me, or you go out of your way to try and affect my life and change the trajectory of it, that's different. But mean comments, racist ones, have never moved me because their words and the power in them comes from what I give them, right? And we'll get more onto that part later. But the biggest part about this, it just seems like there was a bit of idolization of him, where for some reason, he, as this wrestler, was expected to reflect some kind of morality that the people who were watching them were. But who promised you that? Who promised you that Hulk Hogan was going to be a good guy? I would get it if he was one of your friends and you had a close relationship with him, and then he revealed himself to be this reprehensible person that you would never have been friends with had you known that. I get that. But that's not the case. Most people watched him on TV, heard those comments, heard these things that he did behind the scenes to other wrestlers, who those people absolutely have that axe to grind with him because he changed the trajectory of their lives by not letting them, go over, and all these other things, like him snitching so they wouldn't get that union, a whole bunch of things that he did, and other things that he said. I understand. But we don't have this personal connection with him, meaning we don't know him. You saw him? And perhaps this is that thing that we've just been doing with celebrities that is a really unhealthy. We have views, we have sensibilities, and if there's a celebrity that we like that does not have them, we find out is not the person that they're supposed to be, now they gotta go in the trash. And when I mean by gotta go in the trash, I don't mean you should still support them. If you don't want to support somebody, don't give them your money. But move on. Why develop hate for someone who affects so little of your life? Literally, they don't, after, for me personally, Like, Hogan has never taken any part of my psyche at all, right? And when I found out that stuff, it was easy just to disregard, especially because he wasn't in the spotlight for a really long time. And even when they showed him, I was like, okay, there goes that guy. But a lot of people just couldn't help but get this weird guttural reaction every time they saw him. Meanwhile, they've never even met him. This is all just through stories and all these other things. But why do you have this reaction? Why does this human being make you do this? And let's just not act like that there aren't way worse human beings out there. From what I know, he didn't kill anybody. From what I know, he didn't sexually assault anybody. Two things that are damn near impossible to the public eye and most people to even come back from. So when people are trying to wish for, wishing him dead, if I'm going to wish for anything, I would wish that he turns it around and uses whatever's left of his life to affect people in the opposite way of which he did. But I get it. People just kind of want to rage. And like it, once again, this isn't saying that he wasn't a reprehensible person. It's so what? Move on with your life. This man owed you nothing. You either want to watch him or you don't. And if you don't, that's amazing. But for people out there saying, well, he's racist, there's a lot of racists out there. I don't give a shit about them, whether they're famous or not. There's this weird thing that people do, whether if they, for example, when I think it was Kendrick, he wasn't saying anything during 2020 and he didn't put up black squares and everybody was like, well, if I'm doing it, why aren't you doing it? Why don't you care the same way that I care? This is a whole other human being. Like people, whatever artists, for whatever they do, whatever they gave you, if you can't support them, if whatever sensibility that you have, you can't support them, I appreciate that. Don't give them your money anymore. They just like how they don't owe you, you don't owe them your support. That's absolutely fine. But to like carry this weird hate for a person who has not affected your life in a personal way is very interesting to me. Man, I just know him for doing leg drops. He's a wrestler. I don't know Terry. I don't know the dude. Doesn't sound like he was the best of guys. But what did he do with my life at all? What did he do for your life? Did those comments do something? Did they become true for you? Did they change your life in a particular way? Probably not. So I'm asking you, us, as a nerd community, because we get this is not the only time it's gonna pop up, but for some reason, this death has been so polarizing. This guy that people just keep on like digging the dirt up and punching the body still, and they're like, yeah, I'm glad he went out this way, and it's like, I think he was irredeemable. Says who? Says who? What if he did turn himself around? Listen, I don't know anything about how he was in his private life. I don't know if he was still saying the stuff that he was saying. I don't know if he ever said sorry to people. I don't know any of that stuff. I think, and you can tell me if he did, but whether he did or not, how does that affect you on a personal, everyday basis? Why are celebrities, for example, somebody was like, yeah, that's why you should never meet your heroes. The first people who inspired me were the people that were in my house, my mother, my stepfather. If a kid got to look out there to Hulk Hogan and that person has more of an effect than mommy and daddy, we have a problem. Because a lot of people are saying, well, they have a bigger responsibility to be moral because our kids and all that see them. But they see you first. So shouldn't you be telling them, yes, this is a wrestler, but he's also a human being that makes mistakes and is incredibly flawed. This could be a bad guy. He could be a good guy. You don't know him. Watch him jump off the turnbuckle, though, and just enjoy that. And if you find out something that you don't like, don't watch him. It's all the same. But don't let it twist up this knot to make you say all this vitriolic comments and have all this hate, because the hate doesn't do nothing to him. He's gone. But you're just holding on to it. And for people to just see images of him and get, like, angry. For what? Once again, if I had a friend of mine that was a certain way and I didn't know, I could understand that. You can understand that betrayal, right? But I'm hearing words like that, like betrayal, for people that you don't know. that's all I have to really say about this. Just enjoy people and artists and understand that your favorite person could be terrible behind the scenes. But what does it have to do with A, what they provided you, and B, your life in general? It just does not affect you on a scale for which you should be this angry. And I think as human beings, we gotta do better at this kind of social interaction and conversation. And I'm sure that at some point in the comments, because I don't agree with people are going to call me names and say all these things, especially because I don't toe the line when it comes to racism being the end-all be-all thing that makes me crumble and not able to sleep at night. It's your prerogative. But let's try to have a conversation in the comments versus being vitriolic. Let's see if we can practice that. Into the nerd.